families, I'm Miss Allison, and it's a beautiful day for some ocean yoga. Welcome to Ocean Moves with Mote. So today we're going to be learning about some of our fishy friends that live in Sarasota Bay locally. But since it's kind of a rainy day and we're feeling a little bit lazy, let's go ahead and get some wiggles out before we get started. Okay, ready? Do whatever moves you want to do for 10 seconds. Ready? Go! 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so before we get started learning about the fish that live here, what makes a fish a fish? Let's talk about some things that fish have in common. Everyone first take a really big breath. We breathe air into our lungs, but fish have what?
Gills.
They have gills, so you can pretend like you have little gills right by your ears, and that's how fish are going to get their oxygen so they can breathe. Let me think, what else do fish have? Well, they have scales that cover their body. So our skin is nice and soft, but imagine you have scales, slimy scales all over your body. Okay, now we're more like a fish. Do fish live on land?
No.
They do not, they live in water. So let's get our splashy ocean water hands going. Awesome, moving our bodies.
Yeah.
And finally, fish have fins to help them swim. Now we've learned about a couple fins so far, like shark fin, and we learned about dolphins' dorsal fins. These fins are all triangle shaped, so let's try to make as many triangles as possible with our bodies. So I'm going to stand with my feet together. I'm going to put one foot up and make a triangle here. I'm going to make a triangle with my arm on my hip and another triangle with my hand on my head. See how long you can balance here, making your triangle fins. Nice. Let's see if we can switch to the other side. So I'm going to put my other leg up. I'm going to put my arm on my hip and my hand on my head.
Wow.
I have 3 triangles that my body is making right now. Great job, everyone. So we are going to learn about lots of different fish that live here. Now, some fish live on the very bottom near the sand. Some fish live right in the middle, swimming around in the water. Some fish hang out right underneath the surface of the water. And some fish even jump out of the water. So we're going to learn about all of those today. Let's start with the bottom-dwelling fish. Okay, so everyone get down onto your side. We are going to learn about flounder. Now, flounder is a very flat fish that hangs out near the bottom. And when they're little, they have eyes on either side of their head, just like every other fish. But as they grow, their right eye moves onto the left side of their head. And that's how they spend the rest of their life. So go on your side. Okay. And then we are going to turn our head up towards the sky, towards the left if you're on your right side, and that is our flounder pose. Now there's another kind of fish called a tonguefish that's also really flat, and it kind of looks like a tongue. So you can do your flounder pose and stick out your tongue to be a tonguefish. Very nice. Well, next up, we have another kind of fish that is named for another animal. Now, sea robins have very, very special fins because they can actually walk a little bit on the bottom of the ocean, on the sand. So let's go ahead into a kneeling pose.
Mommy.
And sea robins are also named for their fins that look like a bird's wing or a fan when they open and close. So you can lean over and flap your wings. And then they have a couple of pieces of their fin that actually walk. So when you get close to the front, you can use your fingers and walk on the sand. So flap your wings and walk on the sand. Great job. Another kind of fish called the batfish has similar fins that help them to walk. So this time, I'd like you to go on your belly and see if you can walk using your hands, just like this.
No, I can't.
So you go on your belly and try to pull yourself along your mat
I'm sorry.
using just your hands. Great job, everyone. Now there are some other fish that are some of my favorites because they're really cute. And what they do is they use their fins to push up. And sometimes they can walk a little bit on the sand as well. But for them, the gobies and the blennies, we are going to sit on our mats with one leg in front and the other one behind you, like this. You can choose whichever leg you'd like to start with. And you can use your hands as your fins pushing up. And blennies actually have something called cirri, which are kind of like eyelashes. So go ahead and bat your eyelashes to be a blenny. And then you can go to the other side and do the same thing. So we're gonna push up with our fins and we're gonna bat our eyelashes. So next up, we have a fish that we have on exhibit at Mote Marine Aquarium. This fish is really, really big. It has a giant mouth and it tends to just hover along the bottom. Although sometimes if you're out in nature, you can see it hanging out underneath the shadows of boats. What am I talking about? It's a grouper. So let's get on our toes in a crouch position. We're just gonna kind of hover and be big. And let's see your biggest mouth that you can make. I'm gonna puff up my cheeks first. And then I'm gonna open my mouth really big.
See my teeth, everyone.
Yes. Now, groupers can swim in the middle as well in the water. And we're gonna move towards the bottom to the middle. So we're moving up in the water column towards the surface, but not quite there yet. So the first fish I'm thinking about that swims around, and actually it can hang out near the bottom too, is a catfish. So a catfish is named for its sort of whiskers that are called barbels that help them to feel for their food in the sand.
Ow.
So let's do our yoga cat pose like this. Okay, so you're gonna go on your hands and knees and you're gonna make a really big arched back. But we are a catfish. So take out your barbels and you're gonna reach down towards the bottom looking for your food.
Today my nose was my food.
Okay, now there's another fish that swims a little bit more towards the middle called a cowfish. And a cowfish, just like many cows, have horns. So we're gonna go into our cow pose like this. So you're gonna arch your back, make your back into a U shape, and we are gonna make horns. And because we're not a cow, we're a fish, we're also gonna make the cutest little fish face. And this is our cowfish.
Wow!
Okay, so we've learned about catfish, cowfish, and now we're gonna think about another fish that happens to be a dolphin's favorite food. Do you know what it might be?
No.
It has vertical stripes on it, and it's called a pinfish. Why is it called a pinfish? Well, it has spines on its dorsal fin. So let's stand up in a triangle pose, okay, like this, making a triangle with our legs in the mat. And we're gonna lean over to the side. Take one hand and touch your foot. And then put your spine up into the sky. This is our pinfish pose. Now there's another kind of fish called a sheep's head that also has vertical stripes that go up and down, except they have teeth that look kind of like ours. So let's go to the other side, put up our spine, and show your teeth.
Cheese! We're taking a picture, everybody. Cheese!
Okay, so that's our sheep's head. Now there's another fish that's also named for an animal that lives in Africa. It's got a big mane and it can have some pretty sharp teeth. Just like our lionfish has really, really sharp spines. So for this pose, you can go back down onto your knees and we are going to make a lionfish pose. So put your mane out around your head and stick out your tongue. This is lion pose for lionfish. Perfect. Let me think of some other fish that might be swimming around. Let's go a little bit closer to the surface. Oh, I remember we learned about a fish that doesn't look much like a fish and it likes to hang on to the seagrass with its tail. Anyone know what that might be?
A seahorse.
A seahorse. Do you remember seahorse pose? Let's go onto our knees. And we're going to put our arms straight up in the air and make a snout or a face or a nose. And they eat like they're sucking food through a straw, so you can make that noise again. Perfect. Now there's another fish that hangs out near the surface that's kind of like a pipefish, like the seahorse's cousin. But this one is a little bit bigger and has an even pointier mouth. This one is called a needlefish. So go ahead onto your belly and we're going to do a needlefish pose. Okay, so on your belly, you can point your toes and then you can stick your arms out in front of you, make them as pointy as you can. There's your mouth, or you can make the eye of a needle like that. And just stick your legs out and your arms in front of you. Perfect. Now, there's a fish that we see a lot if you're out on the water in Sarasota Bay and it jumps all the time. Anyone know what that might be? It's mullet. So we're going to do our last pose, which is fish pose in yoga. So we're going to go back onto our backs. We are going to stabilize ourselves, rest on our elbows, and then just relax your head backwards. Fish pose.
Everything looks like upside down.
And I did say that mullet like to jump. So on the count of 3, we're going to jump into the air and then land in floppy fish pose. I'll show you that in just a moment, okay? So we've got mullet, 1, 2, 3. Jump back into the water, but oh no, we landed on a dock. Now we're a floppy fish. So lay back on your back. You can put your arms out to the side if you'd like. Put your legs up. And we're just going to tap the ground on either side with our feet. Floppy fish, floppy fish.
Did I get back in the water yet?
Can you say floppy fish 5 times? Floppy fish, floppy fish, floppy fish, floppy fish, floppy fish. But this floppy fish has rolled into the water. Splash. And it's going to swim away. Your best fish swimming.
Swimmy, swim.
All right, and let's come back up into crisscross applesauce. Well, today we learned what makes a fish, and we learned about fish that live on the bottom, fish that live in the middle, fish that live in the surface, and even fish that jump out. So I hope you had fun with us today. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this session of Ocean Moves with Mote, please feel free to let us know. We'd love to see pictures or videos of you and your family doing our moves when you post using the hashtag OMM. Also, let us know if you have any ideas for topics for a future Ocean Moves with Mote. Until then, be well and have a beautiful day.